Welcome back to the Comical Engineers, Fun and Facts with LCTS. In part 2 of episode 6, we continued our conversation with Jay Moser as he shared insights into today's industry challenges, from stagnant productivity to a retiring workforce, and why these pressures actually create huge opportunities for young engineers and project professionals. Now, in part 3, Jay takes us back to his roots, sharing how he became a chartered project professional, his early career at Texaco, and some unforgettable lessons learned along the way, including the famous "sulfur smells like money" story. Let's jump in.
So just kind of continue on, Sam. I am what we call a chartered project professional through the Association of Project Management out of the UK. That was something that while I was working for Shell, I was able to get. So that's a nice achievement to have. And maybe I'll just start with kind of how did I get here, right? I mean, I think people will be interested to understand why am I where I'm at and how did it occur? And I'd say a lot of it is faith in the good Lord, but that you got to put in some hard work. So I graduated. Actually, I lived in Missouri, grew up in Missouri, a little town called Fredericktown, small 3,000 person town. Uh, was the typical athlete and football, basketball, all state, things of that nature. But I knew I didn't want to be that. My dad was an engineer. He's a mechanical engineer. He graduated from University of Missouri Rolla, or the School of Mines as it was in that day, in 1965. And I, I- I'm not going to be a professional football player, but I also played music in the band. And so I ended up took a music scholarship to go to college, right? And I worked on engineering. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. Got my BS in engineering, civil engineering, by the way, in 1988, 89. And that was from the University of Missouri Rolla as well. Probably one of the top 5 engineering schools in the country at the time. So that was kind of from an education perspective. Went directly to work from that graduation with Texaco. Uh, and that move was down here to Port Arthur, Texas, right down not too far from 90 miles from where I sit today. Um, on the family side, Jennifer, my wife, and I dated for about 4 years before I could all through my college until I finished, because we wouldn't get married until I was done. And I picked her up. Didn't leave. She didn't leave the state that often in her childhood. So her and I embarked on a new career in a new location with not a single soul around us. So for you young engineers, it's good for you. You got to lean on each other that way. You got to build your own life, right?
Did you find that it was you had to have border crossing and a new passport to enter into the Golden Triangle, the Port Arthur area, especially from Missouri, right?
Yeah, they didn't require that, but I know one thing. My wife and I get stepped off that plane, and she took that first whiff of sulfur. She said, "What is that smell?" And I said, "That's money, honey." It's money.
That wraps up part 3 of episode 6 of The Comical Engineers, Fun and Facts with LCTS. A big thank you to our hosts, Eberhard and Stan, for another engaging conversation with Jay Moser. In this segment, Jay reflected on becoming a chartered project professional, his early career with Texaco, and that unforgettable "sulfur smells like money" story. Don't miss part 4, where Jay shares how career shifts, mentorship, and continuous training shaped his journey, and the valuable lessons every engineer can take away. And as always, follow, share, and subscribe so you won't miss what's next. Until next time.